Namaste. When I was a child, my grandfather used to tell me stories from Ramayana, from Mahabharata, from Bhagavatam, from various other sources, but in Sanskrit, in poetry. He used to tell me, feel, feel the rhythm of this language, feel the purity of the vibration of the sounds that each character has, each sound has. Feel the musicality of it. And that left a lasting impression in me, and Sanskrit became an integral part of my life. When I completed my higher education, instead of going for a formal job, I set out with this mission of taking Sanskrit to as many people as I can. When I approached schools, colleges, universities, groups, individuals, I was disappointed to listen to the kind of questions that people have in mind about Sanskrit. Even now, people keep asking the same questions. People started asking me this question: why Sanskrit? What relevance it has it today in this age of science and technology? Is it not a language of religion, rituals, prayers? Is it not a dead language? Is it not a difficult language, an archaic language? And years back, when I started my journey, I didn't have any convincing answer for these questions. Literally, I had to stop teaching Sanskrit. I started searching for those materials which could inspire and answer convincingly those questions. And I'm going to share with you all few of those inspiring materials, inspiring stories that I discovered. I found out that Sanskrit is not just a language of religion, rituals, or prayer, but it's a language in which every subject known to man was written. Have a look at this list. You have Krishi Shastra for agriculture and horticulture. You have Rasayana Shastra for chemistry. You have Loha Shastra for metallurgy. Believe me, the list is long. In fact, Sanskrit has more non-religious scientific literature than texts on religious subjects. Another important question people raise about Sanskrit is that it's a very difficult language. And what adds more to this difficulty is that in Sanskrit, there are many words for a single object. While English uses only one word for water, Sanskrit has jalam, vari, ambhu, ambas, apah. In fact, Sanskrit has more than 200 words for water alone. More than 200 words. Why? Why Sanskrit uses so many words for a single object? Is it not creating difficulty for learning the language? This is because Sanskrit is not an object-specific language. It's a context-specific language and a property-based language. Let me explain it by giving you a few examples. When it says jalam for water, the word jalam is derived from a root sound, jal, which means to harden, to become stiff. So it describes one of the properties of the water is that from its liquid state, it can become solid. The word neeram comes from the root sound ni, which means to lead, to go ahead. The word vari comes from the root sound vru to means to cover. Water, it describes that water can evaporate, become cloud, and cover. In this manner, every word in Sanskrit describes a property of the object, but not specific to the object. Is it not interesting? Does it not add richness to the language? This is where one finds how rich is Sanskrit in vocabularies. I take up another point. When I start teaching Sanskrit to the children ask so many questions. So, what is the Sanskrit word for dinosaurs? What is the Sanskrit word for parachute? What is the Sanskrit word for microphone? What is the Sanskrit word for camera? And often, when I go for a teacher's training, the teachers do ask this question. Where from we get new words which can be used in our day-to-day use? That makes Sanskrit a language of day-to-day life. But we lack words. But friends, Sanskrit is a language which has a very transparent system of root sounds from which any number of words can be created and used in our day-to-day life. I'll give you some examples. Take the root sound kru, which means to do, to put into action, to create, to make. By adding different suffixes and prefixes, one can create, literally, thousands of words from a single monosyllabic root sound, kru. By adding the suffix tru, you make a word, kartru, meaning a doer, one who does. By adding the suffix ana, you make the word karana, which means action, and a tool for action. By adding the suffix ya, you get the word karya, which means anything to be done. By adding the suffix tavya, you get kartavya, which means that must be done, that should be done. And there is another way of creating new words by bringing together many befitting words. For example, you have the word rupa. You know what does rupa mean? Form, picture. You can add the word grahakam, which means that which captures, that which seizes, and combine both the words, and you get the word rupa grahakam, which means a camera. Is it not simple and self-explanatory? The same way, you can add dhvani, meaning sound, to the word grahakam and create a word for microphone, dhvani grahakam. You can create a word, hwana grahakam, for a call receiver. And in this manner, Sanskrit has a transparent system of deriving words from the root sounds and can create enormous amount of words which are needed for our day-to-day use. I'll share with you another interesting feature of Sanskrit, that it breathes. Have you ever experienced that the language breathes? Sounds strange, right? But I'll tell you, and you can experience this, that how Sanskrit breathes. When we learn a language, we start learning with its alphabet, right? And Sanskrit alphabet is the most systematic, logically arranged alphabet that you have today. Here the vowels and consonantal sounds are separated in two groups. They're not mixed up. You have the vowel sounds, e, and the whole list is there. What is a vowel sound? If you ask this question, many people will not be able to answer what is a vowel sound. They may say that, okay, vowel sound is an independent sound. And if you ask what is a consonantal sound, it's a dependent sound. It cannot be articulated without a vowel sound. But Sanskrit offers a very simple technique. If you know that, you can identify the difference between vowels and consonants of any language, known or unknown to you. All the vowel sounds are asprishta, meaning open sounds, free-flowing sounds, singing sounds, intoning sounds. You can sing the vowel sounds, ah, and go on. And the consonantal sounds are sprishta, means sounds with contact, whatever the language may be. This is the rule. This is a universal rule that consonantal sounds are mutes, stops. Try pronouncing pa without closing your lips. It's not possible. The consonantal sounds are sounds with contact. You have these consonantal sounds in Sanskrit, starting with ka, kha, ga, ga, nga. And you can see that they are arranged vertically and horizontally. So you have these sounds, the arrangement of sounds, based on the human vocal anatomy. And they're very logical. The first group of sounds, they come from a position from the throat, the position number 1, ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. When you say it, the root of the tongue comes into contact with the soft palate. Then you have the next group of sounds, cha, cha, ja, ja, nya, where the upper middle of the tongue comes in contact with the back of the arch. Then you have the third group of sounds where the tongue lifts and then makes a contact with the front roof, and you get ta, ta, da, da, na. You have the fourth group of sounds where the tip of the tongue hits the back of the upper teeth, and you get ta, tha, da, dha, na. And you have the last group of sounds where both the lips press together, and you get pa, pa, ba, bha, ma. And when you recite it, you feel the sound shift from position number 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, very logical. And within the group, the sound ka is different from kha. The sound ga is different from ga. Then the sound nga is different from the rest of the sounds. And when you try pronouncing it, say ka, then say kha. Don't you feel that when you say ka, there is minimal breath release? And with the sound ka, there is a maximum breath release. The same is the case with ga and gha. So you can see the play of minimal, maximal, minimal, maximal. And the last sound is where the breath is released both through the mouth and the nose. And this way you can find that the language, the alphabet itself, breathes. And very quickly, I will show you 3 other sounds. Anuswara is a very unique sound in Sanskrit. When it is added to any vowel sound, it sounds like im, And when you do it with all the vowel sounds, it has the effect of Brahmari Pranayama, which is beneficial in whole brain development. You have the next sound, Visarga, which means release. When you add it to any vowel sound, it sounds like ah, ah. It pulls the breath from within and then holds it out. This is similar to Bahya Kumbhaka, which is used for focus, concentration. If a child is hyper, give him the Visarga sounds, and it will cure him, it will balance him. You have the sounds Urasya. These are not very popularly known. The last sound in the alphabet Ha is a guttural sound, which needs maximum breath release. And when it is added to Na, Na, Ma, Ya, Ra, La, Va, it becomes Urasya or pectoral. And see what effect it has when you pronounce it. Na, na, ma, ya, ra, la, va. And if you recite it consciously, it has the benefit of Kapala Bhati Kriya. I go to another example in Sanskrit to show you the immense flexibility that this language has. Have you heard this sentence? Able was I ere I saw Elba. Read it once again, but read it now from right to left. See, it reads same. Able was I ere I saw Elba. From right to left and left to right. From the sound point of view, from the sense point of view. I'll show you something similar in Sanskrit, which has got more creativity in it. Look at this verse. Tam bhusuta mukti mudarahasam vande yato bhavya bhavam dayashri. This is the first half of the verse. And the second half of the verse is formed by reversing the first half. You can read the first line from right to left and it becomes the second half. Shri Yadavam Bhavya Bhatoya Devam Samharada Mukti Mutasu Bhutam. And from beginning to end and end to beginning, it's a palindrome. Is it not amazing? And another interesting fact about this verse is that when you read the same line from left to right, it is the story of Rama. And when you read the same line from right to left, it is the story of Krishna. How does a poet create it? Keeping the grammatical rules perfect, the metrical rules, the rules of poetry, the rhythmic pattern, the arrangement of syllables by short and long doesn't change when you read it reverse. This shows the amazing flexibility of Sanskrit. And what I want to say today, this creativity of Sanskrit, the immense flexibility of Sanskrit, the scientific structure of this language makes the language relevant not just today, but for the progressive evolution of the humanity. Dhanyavada.